Today in our society, there is a universal cry in a universal language asking, why? Why has this befallen me? Well, why am I having to go through this circumstance? Why did I lose my job? Why did my marriage break up? Why did I contract cancer? Why? But in the reality of life's experience, why not? Christ himself, the Messiah, the Son of God, had to suffer. How can we expect anything but that? If he had to suffer who knew no sin, then we born in sin, who have sin all around us, sin all under us, sin all over us, ought to realize that there are going to be some times of suffering in our lives as well. Yes, Christianity is a religion of contradictions. There are some seasons that we must pass through, but we have the comfort of God that as we pass through these seasons, that he will be with us. Isaiah 43:2 says, he says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When you walk through fire, the fire shall not burn you. The flame will not kindle upon you. Some of you have been through some waters in 2011. Been some floods that have come in that you thought were going to take your very life. Been some fires that you've had to go through. Been some fires of unemployment, and some fires of sickness, and some fires and floods of your marital relationship. You've had some issues with your children. You've had some issues with family and friends. There have been all kinds of stuff that you've had to go through. Some floods and some rivers that you thought would overflow you, some fires that you thought would burn you up. But God has promised that through it all, that he be with you, that you're still here and you're still in one piece. Never would have made it. Never would have made it. Never would have made it. I would have never made it. I would have never made it without you. When I was passing through the waters and it looked like they were gonna consume me and that I was about to drown, you reached down and you lifted me up and you kept me. Thank you, God. When it looked like the rivers had taken me and I was floating away and I had lost all footing and I didn't know if I'd ever get any solid ground again, you reached down and you snatched me out of the river. It looked like the fire was going to burn me up. You reached in and you pulled me out. Never. I would have never made it. I would have never made it. If left to my own strength, if left to my own knowledge, left to my own wisdom, left to my own, I never would have made it. Thank you, God, for being a God that helps me overcome the contradictions of life. Contradictions of this Christian faith that I have. Thank you. Well, we need to have a proper view of the future. Nothing under the sun is new. Nothing. From the beginning, God has ordained the seasons. Deep thinkers who study the past are united in their conclusion that history repeats itself. What we do, no matter how great, is not new, nor is it final. Similar things have been done before, and if the world stands, they will be done again. God frequently seems to recall the past, by reproducing situations and incidents and events and experiences similar to, if not identical, to things that have occurred before. You know, our past and our mistakes and our accomplishments are like a car's rearview mirror. While driving, if we're going to drive safely, we must use the broad view of the windshield to move forward. If we're going to drive safely, we've got to look through the windshield. And we use the mirror for reference. We glance at it periodically to see where we've come from, to see who may be behind us, to see what's going on before we make a driving decision. However, we cannot effectively move forward if we stare in the rear view mirror and ignore the view of the windshield. At the same time, proper use of the mirror assures a safer, a smoother trip for us. In the same way, we are not to always be looking to the past, living lessons from the past, and depending upon our past to help us in our journey towards the future. We need to look at the past. Yeah, we need to glance up every now and then and see where we've come from and recognize that God has brought us from a mighty long way. But if we get caught up in focusing on where we have come from and on the past, we will wreck our lives. Got to keep your eye on the future. You can look back, yes, but don't get caught up in the past. And maybe 2011 for you was not that good. Well, it's good to look back and say, yeah, you know, Pastor, it wasn't that good, but you need to look forward to 2012 anticipating that God has a real blessing for you. So many of us live every day with either the past or the future on our mind. And if we get caught up in either one too much, the past or the future, we will lose our perspective in the present and not achieve God's blessings for us today, his blessings of abundant life. You know, I love celebrating a new year. I love the feeling that comes with this time of year. It always feels like we're getting a clean slate. Like God has pressed the clear button on our lives, and whatever was in memory, whatever was on the screen is gone. That God says it's clear. We can start this whole calculation all over again. We can start life anew. We can start life fresh. God presses the clear button on our lives. That we can move forward. You know, as we think about each and every year, many things can happen in a year, can't they? Some of you have welcomed new family members this year. Some of you have said goodbye to loved ones this year. Some of you have switched jobs. Some of you have lost jobs. Some of you have lost hair, and some of you have some of you have gained some stuff in other places. Some of you have started attending church here, and we thank God for you. Some of you have given your lives to Jesus and made a new commitment to him in 2011, and that's awesome. That's awesome. A lot can happen in a year, and we tend to do two things as we begin a new year in January. We look back, sometimes with regret. We wish we could have done something differently. And also we look forward, making resolutions that we are going to do better. And as we look forward to a new year and make resolutions to do better, We resolve that what we have done in the past, the mess we got caught up in, or the laziness that we had, or our failure to do this or that, we're not going to do that in the future. My prayer for you tonight is that you will take the time to resolve that you're going to make 2012 the greatest year of your life. That you are going to resolve that whatever it takes, that you're going to give it your very best effort. That with God's help, you're going to be a better you. That you're going to be a better husband, a better wife, a better friend, a better parent, a better worker, just a better you in all aspects of your life. Well, will you take the time to do that, a personal evaluation? Are you where you want to be physically, spiritually, emotionally? If you haven't, I want to encourage you to take some time to do some personal spiritual evaluation. How is your spiritual walk with your God? Do you have a personal relationship with the one who created you, the one who made you, the one who sustains you? Or are you as close to God as you want to be? The start of a new year is a great time to make some decisions about your spirituality. It's a great time to allow God to begin something new in your life. Solomon said, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. There's an appointed time for everything. Not most things, not convenient things, not just happy things, not just positive things. There's an appointed time in God's timetable for everything. And if you can learn to live with that in mind, it'll make those times when you go through seasons of unanswered prayer easier to cope with. It'll make those dark places in your life less dark. God has a time for everything. He's going to take care of you in everything. He's going to be with you in everything. Not 99% of things, but in everything. You may be in a place right now in your life where you're wondering if God is going to show up. I don't even know your story, but your marriage may be in jeopardy. You may be on the brink of losing your job. Maybe you're sick and you think that there really isn't any hope. Whatever your situation is, I can't promise you that God's going to answer your prayer the way that you want him to, but I can promise you that God will help you to make it through if you hold fast to him, if you don't give up, if you don't give out, if you don't quit. God's timing is always sufficient. As the old folks would say, he's always right on time. You are in a season right now. I don't know what it is. Only you and God know. But I do know that God doesn't measure seasons by clocks, and he doesn't measure seasons by calendars. He measures seasons by truth and revelation. And God comes at certain times during these seasons in your life, and he will speak to you about certain issues. And whenever God gives you a fresh word about life, when he gives you a fresh word about your situation, you need to understand that he's moving you from where you are to a new season.